On behalf of Wishtoyo Foundation and its Ventura Coastkeeper program, it's an honor and pleasure to be here. And we can't say enough about how much we appreciate and value and the State Water Resources Control Board, Clean Water Team, its Citizen Monitoring Program, the California Water Quality Monitoring Collaboration Network, and you, Eric, for all your work over the years. The work that your team has done wonders for citizen monitoring programs throughout the state and their efforts to protect inland and coastal waters. So thank you very much, and thank you for allowing us to present today, and we hope that everybody listening in finds this very useful. Again, my name is Jason Weiner. I'm the General Counsel and Water Initiative Director of Wishtoyo Foundation and its Ventura Coastkeeper program, and I'm here today to discuss the application of citizen monitoring to inform both citizen enforcement actions and then government actions to protect inland and coastal waters. A little bit about Wishtoyo Foundation and its Ventura Coastkeeper program. Wishtoyo is a Chumash Native American nonprofit organization whose mission is to protect Chumash culture, the culture and lifeways of indigenous communities, and the natural resources all people depend upon. Wishtoyo was founded in 1997, and in 2000, Wishtoyo founded its Ventura Coastkeeper program as part of the Worldwide Waterkeeper Alliance. And since that time, Ventura Coastkeeper has fought hard and worked hard to protect the ecological integrity and water quality of Ventura County's inland and coastal waterways through a variety of ways, essentially using all tools at our disposal. We engage in restoration projects, outreach and education, community mobilizing, advocacy, and when necessary, litigation, and through citizen acts. And central to all of our work to protect waterways is our Watershed monitoring program, which I'm here to talk with you about today. So what we do, and this is starting on slide 1, is Wishtoyo Foundation monitors Ventura County's waterways for pollution, and we use the results for monitoring efforts to protect the water quality and ecological integrity of Ventura County waterways. And at the very heart of our watershed monitoring program is our resident and citizen-composed stream teams that record water quality in the field and analyze samples in our laboratory. Importantly, our staff and stream team volunteers monitor in accordance with our quality assurance quality control plan that is certified and approved by the Los Angeles Regional Water Quality Control Board. This quality assurance, quality control is essential so the state and the public can count on our results for all the uses of our data. We also monitor by reviewing discharge monitoring reports, whether they're from cities or corporations, to determine whether entities are complying with Clean Water Act water quality standards. We also monitor, of course, by visually inspecting waterways for various pollution and illegal activities such as dredge and fills of wetlands. You can see here, jumping back to this slide, this is a picture of our laboratory co-located at Cal State Channel Islands. And here are some students from Santa Paula analyzing samples we took as part of stream team activities from Santa Paula Creek for E. coli and total coliform. We have over 50 river in Ventura County. We have over 50 river, estuary, wetland, storm channel, and coastal monitoring sites. And actually, it's been 8 years now, we've mobilized hundreds of stream team volunteers during that time to assist with sampling and monitoring. Our program is, every monitoring, citizen monitoring and resident monitoring program is unique. Ours combines both education, but with the need to generate actionable data that we can use to then take and protect water qualities with. Our focus is primarily on generating actionable data, and that's to date, of course. So essentially the high quality data that we collect in the field, whether it's bacteria, nitrate, phosphate, dissolved oxygen, water temperature, flow, trash, or pH, and even sometimes metal. Essentially the high quality actionable data we collect in the field and analyze at our Cal State Channel Islands laboratory, in accordance with our quality assurance project plan, is used by state and regional water quality agencies to determine water quality impairments and to formulate remediation plans for swimming, fishing, wildlife, and other uses. However, we also use this data in another way, to bring polluters into compliance with applicable state and federal regulations ourselves, and to support, as well as to support our own other legal and advocacy efforts to improve water quality. In addition, we also use the results of our data to work with landowners or business owners to stop pollution at its source. And again, and these pictures on the right are just some of our volunteers in the field. So I wanted to break this presentation into two main parts, and thought it would be worthwhile to do so via case studies of our own work. And so the first section is how we apply resident and citizen monitoring to inform Wishtoyo's and its Ventura Coastkeeper program's own citizen actions to protect inland and coastal waters. One primary application of our program has been to inform citizen enforcement actions under the Clean Water Act. So when a municipality or business owner discharges polluted waters into waterways, what we do is adhere to our quality assurance practices and take samples in the field to then determine whether certain discharges from industrial facilities, for instance, contain pollutants above applicable legal standards. And if they do, oftentimes we initiate citizen suits against the most egregious polluters who have a demonstrated history of noncompliance to hopefully bring those polluters into compliance with the Clean Water Act and to protect waterways from their actions. As Eric mentioned, we've had a lot of work over the last, I would say, 8 years, and successful work in stopping polluters, and many of which are companies, from polluting our waterways, and have had 16 Clean Water Act enforcement actions, all resulting in successful results to protect waterways throughout Ventura County. So slide one is one of those case studies. It's Six Flags Magic Mountain, which had historical problems trying to protect the Santa Clara River from their discharge. And we actually received a call from a park employee to inform our stream team's efforts, and went out to the site and investigated and discovered a handful, more than a handful of trash in the Santa Clara River with Magic Mountain logos emanating from the facility's discharge points. And we also went then out to the field and took samples as well, which you can see right here. But some of the trash we found, you can see this Go Big Six Flags Magic Mountain cup and a basketball. But one of the tools we used in this case, which is relevant to very relevant to the tools and techniques we use in our monitoring program, is you may see some little imprints right here. And the screen, I know the screen is too small to really make these numbers out, but these are digitally imprinted longitude and latitude coordinates on the pictures we take that are also date and time stamped. And what we're able to do with what we call as our crime scene camera is take a picture of a discharge, or take a picture of a pollutant, and have irrefutable evidence that that object, whether it be a piece of trash or whatever we're documenting, was at that place at a particular point in time. And what we're able to do in the case of Six Flags is pinpoint all the places where we found trash we felt were associated with the amusement park and plotted them on a map, which we found very useful for our enforcement action. It is worth mentioning that we did settle this case, and Six Flags, we feel that to date, Six Flags has been a wonderful, good faith actor and has taken, to date, tremendous actions and has made tremendous commitments that we hope will continue to curb pollution at its facility. The second case study we'd like to present on is waste management, waste transfer station enforcement action we made in 2014. And as you'll see here, you'll see one of our stream team volunteers taking a sample with gloves and a whirl pack from the discharge point at the facility. This particular facility is located in the Calleguas Creek watershed, and we used this E. coli sample, which was resulted in when we took this we processed this sample actually in an independent laboratory that's certified by the state of California, which we often do for our cases, just as additional QA/QC. But we used this sample to demonstrate exceedance of pollutants in excess of Clean Water Act standards that the facility itself wasn't monitoring for in its own monitoring reports. So adhering to our QA/QC and using our watershed monitoring program is also resulting in protections to all the beneficial uses and human and wildlife in the Calleguas Creek watershed and in Ventura's coastal waters, because of our monitoring efforts. Again, we've since settled this case, and we're very pleased with the progress at the facility, although we feel there's more work to be done. The third case study is how we've applied our citizen monitoring to inform citizen enforcement actions and resident enforcement actions is our auto dismantling yard case. And in that case, again, like in waste management, we went out with our stream team and sampled at the point of discharge from the facility. And as you can see in the upper picture here, this was the facility, one of the portions of the facility, auto dismantling and scrap metal facility before our action, and down here is what it looks like in more recent time after they've cleaned up their practices. Of note, this facility has also achieved a extensive infiltration system, as you can kind of see here in a small picture, which includes monitoring to ensure that infiltrating groundwater doesn't impact surface waters or groundwaters. So taking a little shifting course is the second way that we'd like to highlight in how we use citizen and resident monitoring to inform government actions to protect waterways. And there's a plethora of ways to apply our data that we collected in the field, analyze in our lab to help enable government agencies to protect waterways. And citizens often can only do so much, so it's critical. I think it's absolutely critical that monitoring programs interact with agencies in a way that the agencies can rely upon and utilize actionable data to enact regulations or make rules to protect waters. And the first example is using watershed monitoring data to land a waterway or a segment of a waterway on the Clean Water Act 303D list of impaired waterways. And so essentially our watershed monitoring program or any watershed monitoring program using the right quality assurance, quality control, can submit water quality data to the state of California for a proposed listing on the Clean Water Act 303D impaired waterways list. And the significance of this is great. It not only brings public awareness that a waterway is impaired, let's say for swimming or for wildlife or for consuming fish or surfing, but aside from awareness, when a waterway lands in the 303D list of impaired waterways, the state is required to adopt under the Clean Water Act regulations called total maximum daily loads, which are TMDLs. And TMDLs essentially, in very basic form, assign waste load allocations or waste discharge requirements to all dischargers in the watershed that are discharging the particular contaminant. So it's a way for the state of California to control sources of pollution and to take, hopefully, get a waterway unimpaired. Another way is that our watershed monitoring program informs government actions is through helping to inform individual permits that the State Water Resources Control Board or the Los Angeles Regional Water Control Board would issue. So when a permit is publicly noticed that governs the discharge of contaminants from a a facility or municipality, if we have data either from the discharge point or in receiving waters, we can submit that data to the state, and the state can use that to determine the stringency and requirements in the permit. Additionally, we submit, when we receive data, we oftentimes submit this data, both field data from receiving waters and individual discharge points. We'll submit our data to the state and federal government in hopes that sometimes that they'll take enforcement actions themselves to curb pollution. Other ways we utilize our watershed monitoring program to help inform government actions to protect waterways. If there's a restoration plan or a management plan for water resources, our data has often been very helpful in forming those plans. Our data has also been helpful in helping the state decide where to require various entities to monitor for pollution. And in addition, if there's a state approval or permit or action undertaken and the California Environmental Quality Act process is triggered, our watershed monitoring data often helps inform agencies as to whether a project will impact the environment and what needs to be done to protect the environment and waterways from that project. So quickly getting into a case study on the second application is what we've done in terms of Clean Water Act, what our watershed monitoring program efforts have resulted in terms of Clean Water Act 303D listings. And here you see the offshore industrial drain littered with trash. And you'll see that our Wishtoyo Foundation's Ventura Coastkeeper program successfully achieved the first 303D listings in California for trash in 2009. Currently, what we have, as many of you may know, the Los Angeles Regional Water Quality Control Board and State Water Board are considering our data that we submitted in 2009 and 2010 for additional 303D listings. And our efforts have resulted in what we feel should be 29 new Clean Water Act 303D listings for trash, for flows, in-stream flows, fish barriers, nitrate, phosphate, dissolved oxygen, E. coli, pH, and pH. And these would apply to reaches of waterways throughout the county, including in the Santa Clara River, Ormond Beach, wetlands, watershed, bubbling springs, Nicholas Canyon, and various other Ventura County coastal watersheds. And lastly, just to touch on how to give one example of how we use our water quality data to inform our work in the environmental review process in CEQA. As many of you may know, we've been involved now for a number of years in helping to protect the Santa Clara River from the Newhall Ranch mega development through the CEQA process. And we were able to, here's a map of Newhall. It's a 12,000 acre plus area, not all of which is planned for development, but a large portion of it is. It would essentially create a new city of approximately 60,000 residents, and we have serious concerns about what this new city would do in terms of many environmental and cultural impacts. But one of those impacts is water quality. So we of course have spent a tremendous amount of time monitoring the water quality in its current conditions in the project area and downstream of the project area. And we use that data to inform our comments and analysis of water quality impacts from the project. And we, although we did not win on our water quality claims, and ultimately in the California Supreme Court and in the Superior Court, we did win on our steelhead water quality claims. And we're very proud of our resource-intensive efforts to hopefully make the project more sustainable. So that is all I have for now. I just wanted to thank again Eric and his team and the entire Clean Water team for all their important work that has just gone such a long way towards protecting waters throughout the state of California. I think I would say that our partners with the state of California feel probably the same way, is that we have to be able to do this together, and that citizen monitoring plays just an essential role in the state of California's ability to protect California's waters for all people and species. So with that, Eric, I think we're ready to open this up for discussion and questions.
My name is Marianne Viney, and I'm a citizen living in the Region 9 San Diego area. Mm-hmm. And so we are trying to start our own nonprofit to protect the Agua Watershed in Carlsbad area. And so we're trying to, work with Coastkeeper to do watershed monitoring, which I think is going to be fine. But my question has to do with the lagoon, which is where the Agua Creek discharges into. So Coastkeeper doesn't really have the facilities to do the correct kind of chemical testing for, the lagoon water since they're brackish. And I'm just wondering if you know of other ways we can, that we can monitor the lagoon itself, besides, since we can't really use Coastkeeper for that.
Of course, I'll take the first shot. And again, this is Jason Weiner with Ventura Coastkeeper. All the Coastkeeper programs are different and different nonprofits. Mm-hmm. And thank you, Marianne, for your question. And I would suggest, even if it's partnering, what you could do is if you have a qualified person taking a sample and developing a sampling plan, which is essential to quality assurance, quality control, and informing results that everyone can count upon. And, I would if San Diego Coastkeeper, which is a wonderful organization with a very storied and tremendous watershed monitoring program, if they were able to help with that plan, or even use, go out and help you take the samples, you could deliver it to a certified laboratory, and they could process the samples for you. Depending upon the constituents, it can get quite expensive, but some constituents are pretty reasonable. So I would encourage you to do that, and if you do form a nonprofit, we found that the Clean Water team is a wonderful resource to make sure that you're implementing adequate quality assurance, quality control procedures, and that you're taking the samples and processing them properly. So I think that we're so fortunate in this state to have someone like Eric and his team available to help answer questions. They've been critical in our work.
Oh, thank you so much. That's really great to know. So it's the Clean Water team. Where can I find out more about that, or are you just using that term just as a general term?
Oh, Marianne, this is Eric.
Yes. Hi, Eric.
Facilitator. I am the Clean Water team.
Oh, I see.
So I work out of Los Angeles, but I do things statewide. So from Oregon's watersheds that flow into California and California's that flow into Oregon, all around the state in Mexico. So I cover everything, and then offshore. Down in San Diego, I've been working with Coastkeeper and all of the water quality monitoring groups doing citizen science since 2000. Previous to that, I was managing coastal wetlands in Orange County and in San Diego. So I'm very familiar with
Wow.
And I can help you.
Awesome.
What Jason pointed out is having a quality assurance project plan, having a monitoring question, those are very, very important. It's why are you monitoring? That drives what we look for. And I can help you out. My services are free. And so my contact information is online. You can just Google, Eric Burris, Clean Water Team, or SWAMP, SWAMP, Clean Water Team. You'll find all of our resources. And we have many other presentations like this one on our YouTube channel, so you could learn a lot more. There have been some changes at the San Diego Coastkeeper recently, so I don't know who's running their water quality program at present. But they have been wonderful to work with.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Marianne, just to add, you may also want to contact professors at local universities who may be interested in the research questions that you have.
Yeah.
They also may have students, both undergraduate and graduate students, that could, take your project on as a university project. So we've done that in the past as well.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Tova Handelman. I'm calling from the Ocean Protection Council in Sacramento. I'm very familiar with the excellent work that Ventura Coastkeeper and Wishtoyo does and the stream teams across the state, but I was wondering if you guys came across any hiccups or issues when presenting your data to government officials and how you got through that. And I just know that oftentimes there's maybe a little bit suspicion of the quality of citizen collected data.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, we haven't had any issues to date, and I'm happy to report. So in general, the agencies receiving our data have been very appreciative and grateful for everything that we've provided. And I would just say that and that's why it's important to have quality assurance and control plans in place. And in our case, we have those certifications.
That's great to hear. Thanks.
No, I also know this was a little bit outside the scope of Tova's question, but as that applies, of course, when we take citizen actions against corporations and we're looking to enforce the Clean Water Act, oftentimes we'll even sometimes produce an additional quality assurance project plan just for sampling stormwater discharges, for instance, from a facility.
Excellent.
Of course, it's grounded in our principles in our quality assurance plan, but sometimes if anyone here on this webinar or listening to the webinar would like to know, I would advise that as well. I think Eric has consistently underscored the importance of having a monitoring plan that answers questions for particular research questions, and I think the same would apply to the citizen enforcement actions.
Hey, Jason, we have a question that was sent in. They liked your presentation on QAPP and wondered if it's available online somewhere. They weren't able to find it on your website. They are interested in creating one for streams around Calabasas and looking for some relevant nearby examples.
Great, and that's Angela. That's Angela Dow. Angela, could you provide your affiliation as well? She might not have ability to speak, but Angela, please email us, and we'd be happy to help you. And again, actually, I would start. My recommendation to you would be to actually start with Eric and the Clean Water team, and Eric can follow up with providing you the link. But Eric has spent, and his Clean Water team has spent a tremendous amount of time and a tremendous amount of resources placing quality assurance project plan content online in a database. And I think that in crafting a quality assurance project plan, making sure that you consult with those resources and work in coordination with the Clean Water team is critical, because ultimately that will determine whether it can be approved by the state. And Eric, do you want to add more in regards to that?
Yeah.
And Angela, sorry, go ahead, Eric.
Well, Angela's identified herself with the Mountain Restoration Trust, working on Las Virgenes Creek Watershed. And so in the past, I've worked with that organization. I believe they had a grant which required a QAPP. Within that larger area, Hill the Bay also had a QAPP for work that they were doing in the Santa Monica Mountains and Malibu Creek Watershed. So there are several examples. I actually can spend time with organizations to make sure that your QAPP is specific to your questions being asked. And I'm sure Jason would be able to provide you some guidance and tips as well regarding the development of a QAPP. And we have resources on the Clean Water Team's compendium, which can be found online. So we have over 300 resources in there. But we have some very specific to developing a monitoring plan, and especially on putting together a quality assurance project plan, a QAP.
I see that, Eric. That was great, and yeah, I can't reiterate what a wonderful resource the Clean Water team is, and the compendium that Eric referenced online will be exceptionally helpful in your efforts.
We have another question that's been submitted. If you want to read that one. And
yeah, sure. Larry Hansen appears to be with a Kimberly, or it's Kimberly with Green Valley Creek Restoration in Northern California in Forestville, in Sonoma County, in co-oak habitat, and she's asking a question that everyone has a question about, and it's been, I would urge you to. We feel, of course, that water quality and quantity are interrelated, and water flows are a component of water quality, of course. And there's even been Supreme Court decisions about this. I think that one thing that we hope to see the state improve upon is their willingness to list waterways for flow impairments under the Clean Water Act. It hasn't been done often. One example where it was successful is the Ventura River, and Santa Barbara Channel Keeper would be a good resource to talk with. But I will say that we wish that the state could better address flow impairments by adding them to the 303D list. I will say, and this goes a little bit outside the topic of this presentation, but of course, there's other methods of redress available as well. Of course, every method has a particular purpose and use, and a critical need to have waterways listed as 303D impaired. But you could also look at public trust actions, unreasonable water use actions, and it's under the public trust doctrine in California Constitution and Water Code.
Yeah, this is Eric. I just want to point out there's another organization that you can tap into for advice that goes outside of California on this issue, and that's the River Network. And so you can reach them at rivernetwork.org. They're the organization that sponsors River Rally, that brings together people that are concerned about rivers. They have some wonderful resources online that could be of use to you.
I have a question. Another one. Is that okay? Or
yeah.
So it's Mary Ann Viney. I'm asking about just our particular situation in Carlsbad, where our creek, the Agua Hedionda Creek, it's listed as impaired for a number of different pollutants, but one of them is chlorpyrifos or chlorpyrifos, whichever it's pronounced. And just wondering if, since that was due to be banned, if the regional board has any, specific plans to ban it in California. And it's in our creek, so that's why I'm wondering about it at unacceptable levels.
Mary Ann, go ahead, Eric. I would just say that it's a good question, but probably outside the scope of this presentation and discussion.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the ways that it does fit in with the discussion is having the community involved in what's happening within the watershed.
Right.
What that chemical does is cause toxicity. And as we ban one chemical, we usually see another one being applied in the watershed that does the same type of thing, and when it makes it into the water and into the lagoon, it causes toxicity as well.
Right.
So, monitoring for toxicity, not just the chemical, but for toxicity, and then helping people understand how to protect the watershed, doing that outreach education, and making sure that people are behaving in a watershed-wise way. That's a great thing for watershed groups and citizen monitors to be engaged in.
Eric, I'll add, because we see this in the Calleguas Creek watershed too. Sometimes there are these legacy pollutants that continue to enter into waterways. They're not just there, like maybe stuck in soil, but they continue to enter into waterways from farms, after rain events, or if there's an excessive amount of water applied for irrigation and there's irrigation runoff. So just I would urge you in looking into this issue is to urge regulators to, even if there is a ban or to continue to address the impairment, and that, if a particular pollutant is listed that's bound to soil particles, you could have, sediment toxicity or measures to control sediment from running off of, the source of the area where the contaminant originates.
So, I mean, I didn't notice that that kind of testing on the list of types of tests that you do, Jason. But do you also, as does the stream team, also, test for pesticides or directly test for sediment toxicity within?
Well, but the problem we have, but it's been rare because it just so happens that the pesticide samples are very expensive to process in a certified laboratory relative to other contaminants, unfortunately. But there have been some instances, like in the Ormond Beach Lagoon, and that's another reason why sometimes university partnerships are so valuable, because sometimes there's resources available to universities so they could do that sort of analysis in-house to bring down costs, for instance.
I see. Oh, that's good to know. Okay.
Yeah, you're not too far from Cal State San Marcos.
No, I'm not. No.
Marianne, if it's depending on the source, do you have an idea what the source of the pollution is?
Well, only that it could be agricultural uses upstream, but since it's now listed, it was listed in October of 2016. I assume that the regional board will be working up a TMDL or investigative order of some sort to find out. Mm-hmm. So,
if it wasn't listed, for instance, I mean, and there was reason to have concern about it as a common pollutant being discharged from agricultural land, or if you had limited data, and one way too would be to advocate when the ag waiver for the region is developed and promulgated to include monitoring for particular constituents of concern.
Oh, so
that way the government would actually require sampling, or for that particular constituent, and that's a good example of maybe using your watershed monitoring program to help inform a permit, a Clean Water Act permit or order or action by the state.
Right. That's a really awesome idea, because I could talk to the person who's in charge of that at the Regional Water Board, and directly advocate for testing for that. Thank you.
It appears that Larry Hansen asked a question about refresher courses on sampling techniques and equipment, and we do this for our volunteers and our stream team. So if you're interested, please give me a call and contact me, and we can see if you're interested. And right now, like I said, we're mainly focused on obtaining actionable data, but in the future we hope to provide more opportunities for the general public to engage in our stream teams. We think it's a wonderful education tool as well, and a great way to get residents and students and citizens, everybody involved in taking ownership and being stewards of local waters.
Yeah, Larry, some of our groups have regular training sessions and refreshers, and then some groups do them just annually, and so all their volunteers would go through a refresher. In fact, next month I will be headed up to Alpine County to facilitate training for Alpine Water Watchers. So I want to thank you, Jason, for this presentation. I want to thank everybody for joining us during this midday webinar.
Well, take care, Eric, and thank you very much for all of your work. It does a tremendous amount for our waters and all the peoples and species in the state. So thank you.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that, and thank you for all the work that you've been doing for the resources in Ventura County and for the citizens of Ventura County.